So this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Ingmar Bergman Makes a Movie. On second thought, I'll get back to you in a minute. Give me a minute here. Sorry about that. So this is going to be a documentary about the making of Winter Light, which is one of my favorite Ingmar Bergman movies. And so you get to listen to a lot of the technical aspects of making a movie, although Ingmar Bergman sort of throws a monkey wrench in everything when he says 10,000 different things could change during the course of making a movie. So uh, it's kind of it doesn't really tell you how to make a movie per se, but it is rather long, 2.5 hours, and it does go into a lot of details. So it's kind of mixed. I mean, you probably have to be a real pro to understand everything that Ingmar Bergman understood about film, and he's quite conceited in this one. He compares himself to Johann Sebastian Bach, and which is kind of interesting. I had mixed feelings about that as well. I mean, he thinks he's great and all that. He's not as great as he thinks. A lot of these movies that explore religious themes, like Winter Light, Through Glass Darkly. There's another one. I forget the name. Virgin Spring, I believe. And then I don't forget the name. And then there's the Seventh Seal, of course. 3 out of those movies are great. 5 out of 5 stars, but Through Glass Darkly, I didn't like as much, although I did like it. Um, so those are some of Ingmar Bergman's better films, and I'm giving this one at 5 stars. I really don't care about how Ingmar Bergman has this hoity-toity attitude towards American films or whatever he calls it, and he thinks he's better than all that. Whatever. He also says that you shouldn't mix music in movies, which doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, what would hardware be without that annoying Ministry industrial music? It'd just be a boring science fiction movie, basically. So, yeah, if I did a movie, I'd probably put lots of hardcore and noise in there. Same thing with Psych by 40, which, what would that movie be without the funky pseudo psychedelic music to that one. And, anyways, he's going off on Swedish church, whatever that is. And, the usual Ingmar Bergman kind of stuff. Contemplating the existence of God, and stuff like that. I mean, metaphysics, cosmology doesn't really appeal to me, but it appeals to Mr. Bergman for some reason. And so he makes these kind of movies because he feels the tension inside himself, whatever, and he wants to resolve it. I guess you get the idea for this movie by having a friend who was a troubled priest. I don't know what church they belong to or why they're called a priest, but that was confusing to me. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so I don't remember. And yeah, I don't know. It seemed very meticulous, like he had to go through a lot of takes and shooting days and editing days, and just it just felt like a really long, unnecessary, drawn out process as opposed to being, a low budget film that can be done in like 3 days without having to pay the actors anything other than providing them with food and whatnot for those 3 days. And anyways, I don't know. I just think films can be done much simpler without all this convoluted talk about, oh, I'm a great artist and the critics don't understand me and all this other stuff that he says. I don't know. And I don't like when the critics attack my stage actors. Jeez, what a sensitive guy, overly sensitive he is. And I don't know, just seemed like he's out of tune with the rest of the world. He only thinks in terms of his grand vision, whatever that means. And it's just a indication of his own conceit, in my opinion. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing if God inspired Bach to create great music in Ingmar Bergman's mind, and he scribbles something on his screenplay in Latin that sort of resembles the same thing. It's almost ironic that he doesn't even know that he's contradicting himself in that regard. It's kind of a farce to watch this thing. All these people think they're so great, and I don't know, just rubbed me the wrong way. The guy who's interviewing Ingmar Bergman, he keeps asking all these questions, and I get the sense like he thinks he's up there in Bergman's league in terms of asking the right questions, that sort of thing. They probably planned it way in advance, because Ingmar Bergman answers the questions way too fast, and I don't know. I just thought it was dull and boring. Not to mention it's 2.5 hours, and I could probably learn more from film distribution book than I could from watching this. Um, it was kind of interesting how he said he uses motion to cut scenes, so there's sort of a fluidity to it. It's kind of, it just seems completely unnatural and unreal. The whole editing process that he does, but it's good that he does his own editing nowadays. Other people do it for you, which is kind of odd. But he also wrote this screenplay to this movie, so they talk about that. And what else can I say? Oh, I've been up almost 24 hours, so I think I'll nod off for a little while, a couple hours anyway, because I got 2 more shifts coming up, and it's crazy. 5 shifts from Friday morning to Sunday morning. Be lucky if I can sneak in a couple hours nap in between, and so that's what I'm going to try to do now. Yeah, I started working at my old job again. Everybody's like extended family, really friendly. The gal who got kicked out of our department wasn't too friendly, but whatever. So I had pizza yesterday for lunch. Her going away thing. She's transferring to a different department because she didn't want to get fired, she said. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that it happened to her, and I can understand why she's bitter. But, you just got to suck it up and be professional, not sulk about it the whole time. I don't know. I thought she was being a little overly dramatic, and that scowl on her face. And my boss kind of poked some sarcasm at her. I felt sorry for her by saying that she's gonna miss the smile on her face. I thought it was more like a scowl. And anyways, pretty cool place to work. I enjoy it. I'm not enjoying working 3 jobs 5 different times and not getting much rest, but yeah, I'm going to drop off this DVD and try to snooze a little bit. So, sorry about the beginning of this review. Somebody was jumping in an Uber car or something, and I didn't want to do my review in front of them, so I kind of waited a couple minutes. So, hopefully you stayed along for the ride, and yeah, this is another Criterion Collection disc. Trying to get through these. Got another one about the cinematographer in my bag. So I don't think I'll get through that tomorrow, since I'm going to be dead tired from staying up 2 days, and probably won't. So sorry about that, but it's probably a crappy disc anyway. So that's the end of my review. Laters.